I am Doomsvince, and this is day 56 of Spawn Year.
Spawn is really becoming a whole. Spawn is really becoming a whole new person with this arc. Apparently all he needed was someone to come along and yank all his limbs off. First, he got himself out of a jam with the thing Curse was most looking forward to dissecting. His brain. Finally! And now he's giving a typical comic book geek advice on how to handle bullies. When the kid walks in, Spawn doesn't even yell, "This is Spawn's treehouse!" Being a hero isn't about capes and costumes. It's about actions and how you choose them. Hey, don't get too ahead of yourself there, Al. One decently executed escape and suddenly he's the expert in cool-headedness. Strength isn't about muscles, Pat. It's about standing up for what's right, even when others disagree. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. Spawn only ever seems to display any wisdom or thoughtfulness when he's in really bad physical shape and when children are involved. He was uncharacteristically patient and strategic in 29 with the cop who beat his kids, and that's the same characterization we get here. He's sad, broken, not especially chatty, quick to the point when he does have something to say, and he doesn't instantly rush out into mad rage to tear apart those bullies as soon as he hears about them, like the Spawn who eviscerated that drug runner he thought was taking advantage of a boy in 34. That involved the kid too, but he was closer to full health. We've only met this version of Spawn a couple times, and I like him a lot. Sure, he's brooding and introverted, but that makes sense with this situation. Balanced with some rational thinking and a willingness to act, and not just with his gut, he's great. I think maybe Spawn needs a kid's sidekick to keep him down to earth and focused, and I guess also to pull all his limbs off every so often so he's constantly in pain. I do like that children are a vulnerable spot for Al, since he couldn't have any with Wanda, and now she has one. He's always more human around them, and that's a good idea. He's also an idiot without them. That's less of a good idea. Once again, Spawn's costume rescues him from certain destruction when it transforms itself into an aerodynamic vehicle moving at, quote, extraordinary speed, protecting Spawn's barely held together body and getting him away from the explosion at the Curse's torture chamber. No telling at this point if Curse or any of his weird, unexplained robotic minions somehow survived. I'm actually okay with this one for 3 reasons. 1, I know how the costume did what it did, unlike when Spawn somehow disappeared out of the Hell Cave in the Angela mini without the cape that got him there. 2, he's totally battered, still drugged, and incapable of doing much of anything. Plus, he wouldn't even be here if not for his own ingenuity in the first place. And 3, McFarlane is creative enough here to have the costume come up with something that isn't teleportation, which is the usual easy getaway. The issue is mostly about this kid. It's called Fanboy, and I thought it would be a morality tale about standing up to bullies, but the issue subverts my expectations by having the bullies get terrified of Spawn. In a fun moment where Pat thinks he's scared them with his superhero mask and doesn't realize Spawn is behind him, unable to control his costume, which is completely taken over and attacks the kids until they run off. I was surprised that McFarlane makes this tale more about Spawn than Pat. He's learning while trying to teach this kid what it means to be a hero. But as has been our theme lately, he's standing in his own way of that, by virtue of being a creature born of and made up of evil. McFarlane does lay all the comic book stuff on pretty thick though, making as many jabs at and references to the industry as he can with Pat, even referencing Tony Daniel leaving X-Force to draw Spawn. I do appreciate that Pat isn't preaching against Marvel or DC and touting McFarlane's love for creator-owned books, although I don't like that some of his favorite characters are Image properties I can never be sure aren't supposed to be in the same continuity, and that he actually talks about Image. We do get a startling revelation through Pat, a cool notion I never would have thought of myself, that Spawn has a logo on his chest like a superhero. It looks like an M, and Spawn realizes both he and Clown are branded by Malbolgia. I don't know if that's an idea McFarlane's been planning to reveal all along, or if it's a happy accident, but I really like it. It's fun that it took a kid obsessed with superheroes to figure it out, and I'm not going to begrudge Spawn not putting it together. I've had to see that symbol a lot more often than he has, and I didn't catch it either. I've got to hand it to Daniel on his design for Twitch's wife. She doesn't look anything like how Capullo drew her, and for the knockout she's supposed to be, since Sam can't stop ogling her, I buy his reaction more here. She looks about 10 years younger and less, how should I put this, less obviously a mother of 5. But I can't believe this motif is back. Is it supposed to be funny, or am I supposed to be worried Sam will do something ungentlemanlike and jeopardize his friendship with Twitch? I really like Sam and Twitch, and this attempt at comedy is inching toward making Sam less lovable and more obnoxious. Like last issue, the subplots aren't so strong. Oh look, there's Cygor again, now on his way to New York to finally integrate himself with the A story. I guess he remembers being in the city before, so he's going there because it has, quote, shadows to hide many secrets. He's been in the last 4 issues, and it really didn't need to take this long to get him here. With that much build-up, he'd better be Spawn's new kid sidekick or something. Grandma Blake and Wanda have another scene with a lot of forced expository dialogue to remind us about everything we know already, and it only adds that Wanda is coming down with a cough. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Jason Wynn arranged to get her sick. And a disgruntled cop fired by Chief Banks conveniently gives Sam and Twitch a key to a file cabinet with all the proof they need of the crime they've been trying to convict Banks of for almost 24 issues. I'm glad that may finally be resolved soon. The idea of the police chief working with Billy Kincaid is interesting, but besides Spawn being the one who gave them that initial information, it's not connected enough to Spawn for me to care. I'd much rather see our detectives investigating Spawn and discovering hell and demons and such. The last few issues were published bi-weekly, I suspect to make up for readers' complaints about the slow pacing. Unfortunately, that doesn't help me much. Signed, Captain Logan.